Alright, students, let's go ahead and now revise the next chapter. The next chapter is exemption. Everyone over here, let's go ahead and take a quick linking. We started learning GST with goods or service. Goods or service has to be supplied. Supply can be either interstate supply or supply can be either intrastate. Interstate, IGST will be levied. Intrastate, CGST will be levied. Once GST is levied, GST has to be collected and paid by a taxable person. Now, before he goes ahead and collects, government goes ahead and says, once GST is levied, I don't want you to collect on certain item and pay GST to me. And hence, government puts those items under exemptions. And hence, we are going to learn about the chapter of exemption now. In the chapter of exemption, we have exemption with respect to goods also. We have exemptions with respect to services also. Goods related exemptions are not a part of your CA final exam, but services they can go ahead and ask. Approximately 90 to 100 services are there. Take care up and down. And hence, let's go ahead and quickly revise the services. Exemptions under GST. Exemption is given by the government by using the power under section number 11 of the CGST Act and section number 6 of the IGST Act. Basically grants the power to the government to go ahead and grant the exemption. Section number 11(1) is the general power. That's it. If government wants, then government can go ahead and issue a notification and exempt generally either absolutely or subject to some condition. Whole of the GST say government can give exemption, or part of the GST say government can give exemption with effect from a date which will be specified in the notification. And using this power, government has issued notification number 12/2017 central tax rate for the exemption, and IGST notification is notification number 9/2017 integrated tax rate ka notification which is there. And then sir, these notifications only government keeps amending from time to time, adding, deleting, etc. The next is section number 11(2), which is a special power with the government to go ahead and grant exemption. And this is like case to case basis pay. Government can give exemption by using the power under section number 11(2). The next one is section number 11(3). If government thinks that after the exemption or the exemption notification has been issued, if government wants to insert an explanation, then government can insert an explanation within how much time, everyone? 1 year. And if government inserts an explanation, that explanation will have retrospective effect. Are we clear, everyone? Now, the next one over here is a small circular. Supposingly, one notification was issued. After the notification was issued, there was an entry which was inserted in the notification. And now, relating to the entry, if there is an explanation which is inserted, that explanation can be inserted within 1 year from the inception of the entry. And sir, when the explanation is inserted, it will be retrospectively valid from the date of the entry and not from the date of the original notification. It says explanation inserted is effective from the date of inception of entry in the notification and not from the date of notification becoming effective. And hence, there is a small example. Now, let's go ahead and start understanding the not the amendment, Baba. Let's go ahead and now revise the chart of charitable and religious activities. Everyone over here. So, if you are an entity which is registered under section number 12AA or 12AB of the Income Tax Act, where you have been given for your income exemption under section number 12AA or AB of the Income Tax Act. Now, if you are an entity registered under 12AA or AB and doing charitable activity, now government have gone ahead and told what are charitable activities. So, if you are a charitable institution, I can call it a charitable institution which is registered under 12AA or AB, and you are doing charitable activity. Sir, what kind of a charitable activity? Charitable activity has to be public health related activity. If you are doing charitable activity which is relating to public health, how, sir? By way of care or counseling of terminally ill people, about to go terminally ill. Then, Baba, severely physically or mentally disabled people, sir, HIV or AIDS infected, again about to go. Drug addict, alcohol addict, Baba, again government is going ahead and telling all these people, if you are a charitable institution doing charitable activity, which is relating to what, everyone? Public health. And public health, how are you doing it? By care or counseling of terminally people with me, terminally ill people, sir, severely physically, mentally disabled people, mentally disabled, then HIV or AIDS infected, and Baba, the last one is alcohol addicts. And then it says if you are doing public awareness of preventive health. So public health, you are taking care by doing awareness of what? Preventive health. Then family planning, prevention of HIV infection. Then, Baba, whatever activity you are doing, if you go ahead and charge any amount, they are going ahead and telling it will be exempted. Then they are telling charitable institutions doing charitable activity by advancement of religion, spirituality, and yoga. You went ahead and started teaching Yoga and Baba, they are going in and telling it is if you are a charitable institution registered under 12 AA or AB and doing charitable activity, which is what everyone advancement of religion, Baba, Hinduism, Buddhism, Baba, you are teaching something for religion. Then, sir, you are doing something for advancement of, not teaching, advancement of your religion, spirituality or yoga. Then, Baba, that shall also be exempted. If you are going ahead, if you are a charitable institution doing charitable activity, which is everyone advancement of educational program or skill development program you are providing relating to what? Abandoned, orphan, homeless children. You are providing to physically, mentally abused, traumatized person, prisoners, or person greater than 65 residing in rural area. Baba, remember rural area. If you are going ahead and providing this educational and skill development programs, then Baba, if you are a charitable institution doing this charitable activity, your activities will be exempted. The last one over here is if you are a charitable institution doing charitable activity, which is what everyone preservation of environment, watershed, forest, wildlife, etc., then also your service will be exempted and you don't have to charge any GST. Sir, remember one thing: charitable institution doing charitable activity, which is PAPI activities. What is PAPI, everyone? P for public health related activity, A for advancement of religion, spirituality, and yoga, P for preservation of watershed, environment, wildlife, forest, etc. E for educational program and skill development program. If you are going ahead and doing for abandoned, orphan, homeless children, sir, physically, mentally traumatized, mentally abused, traumatized person, prisoners, or if you are going ahead and doing it for person greater than 65 who are residing in rural area. Remember everyone. The next one over here is, sir, if you are charitable institution registered under 12 AA or AB and you are running an old age home, Baba, old age home, if you are running number one for resident, number two, greater than equal to, remember, resident should be greater than equal to. You know why I'm stressing like that and telling? So that if you are remembering the revision properly in the exam, you'll feel, sir told, you'll think that sir is sitting on the side and telling, hey, greater than equal to, equal to, equal to. Baba, it should be greater than equal to 60 years plus consideration is up to 25,000. Then Baba, remember one thing, it shall be also exempted if consideration is for boarding, lodging or maintenance and is 25,000 per month per member. So if they go ahead and tell you Mr. and Mrs. a year, then Baba, remember Mr. के लिए 25 and Mrs. के लिए 25. And sir, remember if the old age home is run by central government, state government or also exempted if the amount is up to 25,000 per month per member. Then I'm going ahead and telling you entity which is registered under 12 AA or AB, and if it is going ahead and doing what everyone, renting of precincts of a religious place meant for the general public. So Baba, if there is a temple which is there and temple is going ahead and giving room on rent, then up to 999 per day it shall be exempted. Sir, if it is giving premises or kalyan mandapam, kilometer nahi Baba, kalyan mandapam for how much? 9999 per month, then it shall be exempted. And shop, if they are giving 9999 per month, then it shall be always exempted. Remember one thing, if there is a charitable institution or might be, it will be exempted if it is provided by a trust or institution which is registered under 1023C5 of the Income Tax Act, or a body or authority which is registered under 1023BBA of the Income Tax Act. Baba, if they are also providing renting of precincts of a religious place, Baba, like Gurudwara or might be temple which is there, if they are going ahead and giving room on rent 999 per day, sir, Kalyan Mandapam 9999 per month. We will get married for per month. No, Baba, it is per day. And then remember one thing, everyone, shop 9999 per month, and they will not go ahead and charge GST. Always remember temples, etc. May you have hundi. So you will put 1 rupee in the hundi. If they ask you 10,000 rupees, you put 1 rupee in the hundi, and 999 or 9999 is always exempted. Now, the next one, this is not connected. This point is not connected to the above one. This is not connected to a charitable institution, but what they are telling, if anybody is going ahead and conducting religious ceremony, remember one thing, any person, not necessarily by a charitable institution, it will always be exempted. So, for an example, if Panditji is going ahead and doing puja and he is going ahead and charging an amount, he is doing a religious ceremony and he will not go ahead and charge you any GST. The next one over here is if there is an entity which is registered under 12 AA and it is providing training or coaching in sports, entity registered under 12 AA or AB and it is providing what everyone, training or coaching in sports, then Baba, it shall be exempted. And this is not connected to an entity which is registered under 12 AA or AB, and hence I have provided it separately. See over here. First, B I have written. Why? Because B is connected to entity registered under 12 AA or AB, and this point is training or coaching in recreational activity relating to art or culture. Art or culture ka classes, if it is given by whom, everyone? individual which is basically training or coaching in recreational activity relating to art or culture, it shall also be exempted. Now over here on the right hand side you have religious pilgrimage. Baba, religious pilgrimage which is provided by KMVNL, Kumaon Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited. KMVNL, Kumaon Mandal Vikas Nigam Limited, they provide Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. For that whatever they charge you, there will be no GST. If Hajj committee is going ahead and taking people to Hajj, then Baba, for that also whatever they are going ahead and charging, remember there will be no GST. Now over here, services by rehabilitation professional. For an example, this is over here Naveen, and Naveen has started drinking. Now Baba, he'll be taken to rehab, and in the rehab there will be rehabilitation professional. Although those people are not doctors, but they are all like doctor, and their services when they are going ahead and providing that, they are providing rehabilitation, therapy, or counseling, and their services when they are providing at a rehab center, which is a medical establishment, or at an educational institution, or rehabilitation center which is established by central government, state government, union territory, not by local authority. If they are providing their services at a rehabilitation center established by the central government, state government, union territory, or an entity registered under 12A or AB, then Baba's rehabilitation professional ka services at those institutions will also be exempted. Now over here we have a small circular which goes ahead and says circular on GST, excuse me, on residential program or camps. It says if primary or predominant objective or is a purpose or and purpose is advancement of religion, spirituality, and yoga, it shall always be exempted. Sir, if charitable trust is merely providing or religious trust is merely providing accommodation or serves food and drink against consideration in the form of donation, Baba, you call it a consideration, you call donation or whatever. If you are charging any amount and giving this food, accommodation, etc., where the primary objective is not advancement of religion, spirituality, and yoga, then you are going ahead and providing a service which is not exempted, and it shall always be taxable. Holding of fitness camp, classes, aerobics, dance, music, etc., always GST is payable. People, remember one thing in this chart, what I find important is they can go ahead and ask you this small point which is 999, 9999. Correct, everyone? You should be careful about it. Other than that, to Baba, anything and everything can come. What do you say? Right, everyone? Chalo. We are done with our first chart of exemption, which is relating to charitable and religious. Come to the next one, everyone. The next chart is on central government, state government, union territory, or local authority. Please come to the next chart. Now, the next chart which we are going to revise is government related services, central government, state government, union territory, or local authority. Remember one thing, central government, state government, the first department which they have is the Department of Post over here. Department of Post ka services, always remember postcard, inland card, book post, ordinary post where envelopes weighing up to less than, not up to, envelope saying less than 10 gram is always exempted. Post, inland letter, book post, or ordinary post where Baba letters which are less than 10 gram PBO ka services may it will be always exempt. Department of Post providing any other services, all other services which are there, speed post, agency service, life insurance, express parcel, or any other services provided by Department of Post, always GST will be payable under forward charge mechanism. There is no exemption at all. Now if you see in the exam, services in relation to aircraft or vessel, always remember one thing, services in relation to aircraft or vessel. Number one was post over here. This is airport or port related service. Inside or outside the airport or port, GST will always be payable under FCM, forward charge mechanism. The third one is renting of immovable property. Always remember one thing, if government is going in and renting immovable property, registered person, always GST will come under RCM. Unregistered person, GST will be always under forward charge mechanism. PAIT, T for transportation services. Remember one thing, transportation services, always GST will come under forward charge mechanism. Can I go ahead, everyone? But there also some exemptions are there, which we'll be talking about in the next class, next chart actually. Everyone over here now. Sir, other than this post, airport or port, immovable property or transportation service, if any services, all the other services which are provided, other than post, airport, immovable property and transportation related service, if they are provided to a business entity by the government, remember, if they are provided by the government to the business entity or non-business entity, if government is providing other than PAIT services to anyone other than business entity, it will always be exempted. But if it is provided to a business entity which is in the taxable territory, GST has to be paid by the business entity under RCM. But there is also an exemption where government went ahead and told, if you are a small business entity means whose last year ka turnover, is less than the registration limit, then Baba it shall be exempted. Otherwise, it has to pay GST only when the consideration is more than 5,000. GST has to be paid under RCM. Everyone remember one thing, but if the amount is less than equal to 5,000, then GST shall be exempted. So if I go ahead and tell you, everyone over here, if government services are provided, government services relating to post, remember one thing, PIBO services are exempted, all other services taxable. Government is providing airport or port related service, always GST will come under forward charge mechanism. Government is providing immovable property related service, registered person, RCM, unregistered person, FCM. Can I go ahead, everyone? Then, sir, transportation service, always remember forward charge mechanism will come. And the last one, all other services other than PAIT services. And there are some more services which are exempted, correct? We'll talk about it. Other than PAIT services, some services which are exempted, leave it. Other than that, any services which are provided by the government, always GST will come under RCM, provided your business entity whose last year turnover is more than registration limit plus the amount charged by the government is more than 5,000 rupees, then you have to pay GST under RCM. Are we clear, everyone? Now, over here, everyone, sir, what are the services which are being exempted? Government went ahead and told if government is going ahead and providing guaranteeing loan of their undertaking or PSU, Baba, if government is guaranteeing the loan of their undertaking or the public sector undertaking, then from a bank or a financial institution guaranteeing loan ka services are provided, then it shall be exempted. It is only applicable in case of central government, state government, union territory. The next one is if they are going ahead and allowing, government is providing whom? Business entity, government is allowing business entities to operate as telecom operator, use radio frequency for a license fees. Always remember one thing, GST has to be paid, GST will be exempted. These are for prior agreements which are prior to 1/4/2016. The next one is government is providing registration required under the law, including testing, calibration, safety checks, certification to protects for relating to protection of workers, consumers at large, including fire license required under the law. People remember one thing, GST will be exempted, but here government is providing registration, then Baba, then it will be exempted. But if renewal is done, then you have to pay the GST under RCM. The next one over here is passport, visa, DL. All these issuance services also will be exempted. Merchant overtime fees, GST will be exempted. Tolerating non-performance of a contract against fines or liquidated damage. If government is tolerating, then also exempted. If anyone else is also tolerating and you have paid liquidated damages, etc., that is also exempted in the supply chapter now. Correct, everyone? The next one over here is assignment of right to use natural resources to an individual farmer. Remember, assignment of right to use natural resources to an individual farmer for cultivation of plant, rearing of all life form of animal, except horses. Remember, horses are always commercial and government will also get commercial. But other than that, if government is providing right to use natural resources, to all the natural resources belong to the government, and if government provides you right to use the natural resources, then to whom? To the individual farmer for cultivation of plant and rearing of all life form of animal, then it shall be exempted. Now over here comes one excess royalty collection contractor. Everyone over here, I'll go ahead and quickly tell you. Excess royalty collection contractor may what happens? State government will go ahead and give one minor. What, everyone? This is minor mining license, and he will give a fixed lump sum amount. On the fixed lump sum amount, he'll go ahead and pay the GST under RCM. Now over here, government says that if you do any excess mining, then you have to go ahead and pay excess mining, pay excess royalty. And when he does excess mining, he will pay on the excess royalty also GST under RCM. Are we clear? For an example, he has paid GST under RCM 18 lakh rupees. Now, always the excess royalty collection ke liye government does the bidding. Now, this person won the bid that he will collect the excess royalty. So, from everyone, he will be collecting the excess royalty. Government has given him the right to collect the excess royalty, which is a supply of service. For example, he has to go ahead and pay to the government 1 crore rupees for the excess excess royalty collection contractor ka rights. Now, on this 1 crore, because you are a business entity, you have to pay on this 1 crore also GST under RCM. For an example, 18 lakh rupees. But government says because you are collecting the royalty from here only and giving it to me, that 1 crore rupees. What is 1 crore rupees? Ultimately, you are collecting the royalty from that and you will give me this 1 crore rupees. So government says that whatever the excess royalty pay, GST is already paid. You don't pay that much GST to me. This will be exempted under section number 65B. Now tell me one thing. For an example, he has to pay 18 lakh rupees and this minor has only paid 16 lakh rupees under RCM on the excess royalty. Then Baba, exemption will be limited to 16 lakh and this person has to pay 2 lakh rupees under RCM. I hope this point is clear. Please be very careful about it. What are they telling? For an example, I go ahead and tell you, sir, minor contracts with the government for a fixed amount, which is 1 crore rupees for mining 1 lakh ton, but he has done the mining of 3 lakh ton. It means he has to pay 2 lakh ton पे 100 rupees करके excess mining के लिए excess royalty. On this 2 crore rupees, he will pay GST, which is there, which is 36 lakh. Excess royalty collection contractor को government gave the license, and when government gave the license to him, he has to go ahead and pay, for an example, 1 crore rupees. On 1 crore, the GST works out to be 18 lakh, but miner has already gone ahead and paid 36 lakh rupees under RCM, so this amount will be exempted. Now, sir, if supposingly miner has done mining of only 2 lakh ton, 1 lakh ton was allowed, 1 lakh is the extra ton which he has done the mining. On 1 lakh ton, he has to pay 1 crore rupees excess royalty. On 1 crore rupees, 18 lakh is the GST payable under RCM by the miner. But excess royalty collection contractor ko government gave the license for 2 crore rupees. On 2 crore rupees, the GST payable is 36 lakh. He has to pay 36 lakh, but here only 18 lakh is paid, and hence he will get exemption of 18 lakh rupees, and 18 lakh rupees he has to pay under RCM. Please remember one thing, this thing is very, very important. Now, everyone over here now. Sir, other than that, if you see over here, if central government, state government, local authority or union territory government ko, okay, leave that point. Now, listen. Sir, supposingly there is a fair trade shop, that ration wala shop which is there is going ahead and distributing ration, and government is going ahead and paying commission to that guy. That ration wala ka commission is always exempted. Fair trade shop, fair price shop to the central government, state government under public distribution system, fair price shop ka services are being exempted. The next is government share of profit petroleum. Do you remember, everyone? Government gave the license to go ahead and to explore the petroleum. Now, when you explore the petroleum, out of that cost petroleum was deducted. Remaining profit petroleum ka share you give to the government. When you give that share to the government, government has given you the service and you are giving profit petroleum ka share, you have to pay the GST under RCM, but government went ahead and told GST will be exempted. Training program where the government is going ahead and paying 75% of the expenditure is also exempted. Insurance scheme premium is paid by the government. Remember one thing, it will also be exempted. Now, pure service or composite supply where goods and service both are involved, but goods ka amount is up to 25%, and you are providing pure services in which only labor is involved, or composite supply where value of goods is only 25% and you are providing in relation to 243G and W, then Baba, your services to the government also will be exempted. Now here there is a circular which goes ahead and says, sir, sanitation and conversancy services, if they are provided to army or any other government department, if those army ka department or government ka department is not providing 243G and W ka activities, if they are not doing 243G and W ka activities, and if they take these services which are in relation to 243G and W, it shall not be exempted. Who do not perform the function under 243G and W as local authority, thus for the public, hence no exemption. Remember one thing, government goes ahead and does what, everyone? Government goes ahead and government में local authority does 243G and W का activity. Now, when local authority is doing 243G and W का activity, that is neither supply of goods nor supply of service, because they are doing it for the public. Now, other than, so if local authority is taking 243G and W related services, then it is exempted. But other than local authority, if supporting any government department is going ahead and taking those 243G and W related services, because outward is not 243G and W related service, these services when you are providing to other government department, it shall not be exempted. Now, over here, if you go ahead and see, there is one governmental authority and one is governmental entity. Sir, what is the difference between a governmental authority and a governmental entity? I have gone ahead and told you over here. A governmental authority means an authority, board or any other body which is set up under an act of parliament, state legislature, or which is set up by the government, and Baba, with 90% or more participation by way of equity or control to carry out the function which are told under 243G and W. So, governmental authority is created by the government to carry out the functions which are told under 243G and W, and 90% control is of the talk. No, talk. Everyone over here. Governmental entity means what, everyone? They are there not to perform a 243G and W wala function. They also have 90% equity or control of the government, but they are there to do any function on behalf of the government. Are we clear, everyone? Now, what they are going ahead and telling is, if you government goes ahead and government can set up one governmental entity or governmental authority. If governmental authority is there and it is providing services to the government, and government is going ahead and it is providing services to the government by doing 243G and W activity, governmental authority giving services to the government is always under. People, remember one thing, governmental authority going ahead and giving services to the government. Baba, basically it is going ahead and doing 240 GNW activity. Their services also will be exempted. And governmental entity giving services to the government, for which government is giving grants, also will be exempted. Remember one thing: central government, state government, local authority, union territory government, government to government services are always exempted. And other than that, one entry number 9 I have gone ahead and told over here, which we have already connected over here, but still I've mentioned it separately over here. Supply of service, where the consideration is up to, if government is giving any services to you, where the GST has to be paid under RCM. Remember one thing: the consideration is less than equal to 5,000. Wherever the GST is payable, if the consideration is, if government services are there and the GST may and the consideration is payable is up to 5,000 rupees, then it will always be exempted. Remember, but this is not applicable in case of services by Department of Post. Baba, P. No. Department of Post, airport or port related service and transportation. Department of Post, PAT. It is not applicable in case of PAT. Are we clear, everyone? Now they are going ahead and telling in case of continuous supply of service, exemption is applicable only when the amount is less than equal to 5,000 rupees per annum. Are we clear, everyone? And hence you will go ahead and tell me, sir, what about renting of immovable property? Renting of immovable property may you have to go ahead and see. People, renting of immovable property may you have to always go ahead and see that, sir, if the government has gone ahead and rented you the immovable property, if the amount is less than equal to, because renting is a continuous process, if the amount is less than equal to 5,000 rupees per annum, might be per month is only 200 rupees, 300 rupees. So per annum, you have to go ahead and see over here in case of continuous supply of services. Are we clear, everyone? If it is less than equal to 5,000, then it shall be exempted. Otherwise, GST has to be paid under RC. Are we clear, everyone? Can we go ahead? Are we all 100% clear? Done, everyone? Chalo. We are done with our exemption. People, here. Amendment is there. Entry number 6 may one small amendment is there. Circular has come that accommodation services provided by Air Force, Army, Navy, paramilitary force, mess to the personnel or any other person. Always remember one thing: other than business entity, it will always be exempted. Are we clear, everyone? It is services provided by the government, and if services provided by the government, if it is getting covered under entry number 6 and it is provided to non-business entity, anyways it will be exempted. So if it's an accommodation services which are provided by the Air Force, Army, paramilitary, police force to the personnel or any other person, it shall be exempted under entry number 6, provided it is provided to a non-business entity. Business entity, then sir, business entity, then you will have to go ahead and see if the amount is business entity last year turnover is more than registration limit, and then the amount is more than 5,000 rupees. Are we all clear? People, very important is government related service from exam point of view. I'll close my revision on the chapter of on the exemption relating to government. Sir, what is important from exam point of view, everyone? This one, excess royalty collection contractor. This point is good, important. This amendment wala point is important. These small points which are there, no, anything can come. And this last wala point which is there, other than PAIT services, any services which are being provided by the government, this you have to be little careful about. Can I go ahead, everyone? Chalo. Please come to the next chart, everyone. The next chart is transportation services. Please come to transportation related services. Please come. Chalo. The next chart over here is transportation related services. Transportation can be of passengers. Transportation can be of goods. Now, passenger related services, passenger ko when the transportation services are given, always remember passenger transportation can be with or without accompanied baggages, means accompanied belongings. You might have baggages along with you, you might have bags along with you, which is belongings, or you might not have any belongings along with you. That is also okay. And transportation can be of goods also. Remember, passenger transportation can be by air, rail, road, or water. Goods transportation can be by road, rail, water, or air. Now, here they are going in and telling transportation of passengers is happening by air. People remember one thing: if air transportation is happening in economy class only, so if there is any Indigo airline and they are going in and doing passenger transportation by air, Indigo airline for an example, if the plane is going to or it is coming from, embarking from, or terminating in. If it is terminating in a place or it is starting from a place which is basically Bagdogra in West Bengal, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Assam, and Nagaland, then it or Sikkim, it shall always be exempted. Remember, Batmans always fly free. Batmans, B for B for Bagdogra, A for Arunachal, T for Tripura, M for Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, A for Assam, Nagaland, and Sikkim. Batmans always fly free. Remember, Batmans go going and Batman from coming. Whatever is the air transportation, GST will always be exempted, provided it is economy class. Remember, business class will always be taxable. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is, if government is going ahead and providing, not government, anyone who is going ahead and providing transportation of passenger, which is by road. Remember one thing, road transportation may, if it is stage carriage. What is stage carriage, everyone? Which goes in stages, like our local buses which are there, which are going in stages. Remember, non-AC is always exempted. AC is always taxable. If you can afford AC, you can afford GST also. The next one over here is contract carriers. Always remember, what is a contract carriers, everyone? Which you have taken under a contract to go from one point to another point. Remember, contract carriers, non-AC is always exempted, but AC, radio taxi, tourism, conductor, charter, etc., always GST will be payable. The next one over here is meter cab, auto rickshaw, e-rickshaw. Meter cab, auto rickshaw. Meter cab is what, everyone? Show your hand, it will stop. Auto rickshaw, baba. Auto rickshaw is auto rickshaw. E-rickshaw is that battery rickshaw which is there. Always GST will be exempted. Wherever I've gone ahead and told you, stage carriage exempt, contract carriage exempt, and sir, auto rickshaw, e-rickshaw, etc. are exempted. Wherever metered cab, auto rickshaw, e-rickshaw, I've told you the exemption. Exemption will not be applicable if these services are provided through e-commerce operator. In that scenario, e-commerce operator will become liable. He will collect the GST and pay the GST to the government. E-commerce operator is he or she. How do I know? They will collect the GST and pay to the government. Are we all clear till here? Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is, if transportation of passenger is done by rail, remember, metro rail, monorail, tramway is always exempted. Indian Railway, remember one thing, non-AC is always exempt. P. What is this? P is missing, everyone. Okay, exempted. And then, sir, first class or AC, GST is always payable. The next one over here is water ke through if transportation is happening. Remember, vessel, sea transportation if it is being used. Baba, what happens? India has a coastline from one port to another coast. They will go ahead and use coastal transportation ke liye public transportation, right, everyone? In that scenario, public transportation is always exempt in India. Tourism, transportation outside India, always GST is payable. Remember, water transportation ka case mein inland waterways used for passenger transportation will always be exempted. Now, over here, we have some circulars which came. Let's go ahead and talk about the circulars. But before I talk about the circular, I have to go ahead and teach you some other thing. Okay, we'll finish first all this thing and then we'll come back to the circulars. Everyone, passenger transportation. Remember one thing, passenger transportation. Now, in the exam, people, you have to start visualizing. Your picture memory has to be very, very strong. Before the exam, if you revise things properly before 2 to 3 times, in the exam, you'll remember the memory. Everyone over here, you remember now, air may going to Batman's, coming from Batman, GST will be exempted. Economy, you have economy class. Then, Baba, road transportation may remember, road transportation, stage carriage, stage carriage, no, louder you talk, no. Non-AC is always exempted, AC is always taxable. The next one, everyone, contract carriers, remember, non-AC is exempt, all others taxable. Sir, metered cab, auto rickshaw, e-rickshaw, always exempted. Can I go ahead, everyone? Rail transportation may monorail, metro rail, tramway, always exempted. Indian Railway, non-AC is always exempted. AC or first class is always taxable. Correct, everyone? The right side, which we had, vessel transportation, public transportation of through sea is always exempted. All other tourism, etc., is always transportation outside India taxable. Inland waterways, government is selling inland waterways. There is no traffic. Use the rivers how much ever you want, and public transportation ke liye there will be no GST. Right, everyone? Now over here we have goods transportation, which is there. Sir, in goods transportation, remember, goods transportation can happen by road, it can happen by rail, it can happen by water, it can happen by air. Remember, air transportation domestic is always GST is payable. People, air transportation of goods. People, don't write in air transportation going to Batman, coming from Batman. Baba, we are talking about goods over here. Are we clear? Goods transportation, always GST is payable. International, from outside India to India, is always exempt. From India to outside India, always GST is payable. Goods transportation by water. Remember, vessel ke through, if you are using coast to coast going through ships, etc., then they are telling coastal transportation in India, GST is always payable if it is transportation of goods, but random items are always exempted. What is random item, everyone? Relief material, agricultural produce, newspaper and magazine, defense and military equipment, organic manure, milk, salt, food grain, rice, flour, and pulses. What will you remember, everyone? Egg. Hey, he's everyone. Relief material, agricultural produce, newspaper and magazine, defense and military equipment, organic manure, milk, salt, food grain, rice, flour, and pulses. Never say egg and all. Okay, everyone. He's telling, sir, we will make one bowl. In the bowl, we'll put what, everyone? Some flour we'll put, some rice we will put, some pulses we'll put, some food grain we'll put some salt, and put some milk. Are we clear, everyone? There is no sugar over here. There is no egg over here. Take everyone. Remember, milk, salt. People, serious it is. Milk, salt, food grain, flour, pulses, and rice. Okay, everyone, please be very careful. Only if it is a random item, then GST will be exempted. The next one over here is international transportation. Remember, international transportation from outside India to custom station in India, GST is always payable. From India to outside India, GST is always payable. In Indian shipping company will charge GST under forward charge mechanism. Foreign shipping company then reverse charge mechanism may the importer has to pay the GST under RCM. Then, sir, inland waterways. Remember, inland waterways ke through if you are transporting goods, it will always be exempted. Sir, rail ke through if you are transporting goods, GST will be payable, but exemption is for random item. Tell me with me, everyone. Random item, relief material, agricultural produce, newspaper and magazine, defense and military equipment, organic manure, milk, salt, flour, rice, pulses, grains. Can I go ahead, everyone? Food grains. Road ke through, if goods courier ke through transportation is happening, remember door to door services always, courier is what? Door to door services, GST is always exempted. The next transport is, sorry. Courier is always payable. Courier GST is always payable. Courier GST is always payable. GTA, remember one thing, GTA is one who issues a consignment note. GTA is one who issues a consignment note. In the exam, very, very important. Baba, for big question and all, you'll need it. If anyone is not issuing a consignment note, he is not a GTA. It means others ka case mein, individual truck wala, tempo operator, bullock cart, horse cart, who don't issue any consignment note, their transportation services are always exempted. But GTA, who issues a consignment note, GST is payable. In GTA also, remember, if GTA is providing services to FB Scoop, factory, body corporate, society, cooperative society. Baba, F for factory, body corporate, society, cooperative society, partnership firm. GST is always payable under RCM or forward charge. If GTA has opted for 5% reverse charge, then you will have to pay GST under GTA is unregistered. You have to pay GST under 5% reverse charge. If GTA is opting for 5% forward charge or 12% forward charge, then they will charge. Whatever it is, GST will be payable. If you are a registered person, if registered person is central government, state government, local authority, union territory, or governmental authority, governmental agencies. Baba, TDS deductor or central government, state government, union territory, local authority, or governmental. Sure. Who was the TDS deductor? Governmental agencies or governmental authority? Recall. It is governmental agencies. Correct, everyone? Governmental agencies. Remember, if they are registered as TDS deductor, GST will always be exempted. Any other registered person, GST will always be payable. Unregistered person, others, GST is exempted. Unregistered person is casual taxable person, GST is exempted. If it is specified goods, wherever GST is payable, GST will be exempted. If it is random item, relief material, agricultural produce, newspaper and magazine, defense and military equipment, organic manure, milk, salt, food grain, rice, flour, and pulses, GST will be exempted. Are we all 100% clear till here? Now, everyone over here on the left hand side, I've gone ahead and told if airline is going ahead and telling the government, okay, government will go to those region where you want us to go to promote regional connectivity, we'll go over there. And government is telling, okay, if you are going ahead and providing me those services of doing transportation services to those regions to promote regional connectivity, I will go ahead and give you what, everyone? Viability gap funding. Remember, viability gap funding is always exempted, but is only exempted for the first 3 years. The next one over here is right side, services associated with transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan. Always remember, it will always be exempted. Over here, if government is going ahead and granting you national permit to goods carriage, remember, to goods carriage, to operate throughout India or contiguous state, it will always be exempted. National permit or to permit to other contiguous states which are sharing the common border, then also it will be exempted. Now over here we have down by one small exemption, entry number 22, which goes ahead and says giving on hire or renting. Baba, hire includes renting also. If anyone is giving to a state transport undertaking one motor vehicle to carry more than 12 passenger, to a local authority electric vehicle to carry what everyone greater than 12 passenger, or you are giving to a goods transport agency means of transportation of goods, always remember this shall be exempted. Now over here there is one entry number 19C which goes ahead and says satellite launch services when they are provided by Indian Space Research Organization, Antrix Corporation, New Space India Limited, it will always be exempted. Now over here, they are going ahead and telling circular. Baba, the circulars are going ahead and telling if Baba transit cargo is going to Nepal and when it is coming back, the empty containers are coming back and there is any amount which is being charged, because when the containers will go with the container, the container will go to the Nepal Bhutan border. When they are coming back as empty container, there are some charges which are being charged. So Baba, going and coming ke liye, whatever is being charged for transit cargo, they are going ahead and telling GST will not come. It says movement of empty container from Nepal and Bhutan after delivery of goods is also services associated with transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan, and that shall also be exempted. Now, renting of truck with other vehicle and other vehicle with driver for a period is services of what everyone? Renting transport vehicle with operator and not a service of transportation of goods by road. Now, people went ahead and told, sir, I have given one person renting of a truck along with operator I have gone ahead and given, and they are telling, sir, it will come under, we are not issuing consignment note and it shall be exempted. Government told, sir, that is not transportation ka service, that is what everyone, that is renting ka service, renting of motor vehicle, renting of truck along with operator is not transportation of goods ka service, it is renting a service which is taxable under GST. The next one over here is private ferry. Remember one thing, Baba, in Andaman, Nicobar, etc., what happens? Small islands are there and ferries go from here to here, here to here. Remember one thing, ferries are public transportation, and remember, public transportation is always exempted, whether the ferry is owned by government or whether it is owned by a PSU or it is owned by anyone privately. Government says over here, private ferry for transportation of passenger is always exempted, whether the ferry is owned by and operated by private sector enterprises or PSU or the government. Sir, if I have gone ahead and taken one higher pay, if I have taken a contract carriage, if I have taken contract carriage on hire just to transport my employees, remember one thing, there is no exemption in that scenario. Taking contract carriage, hiring of non-AC contract carriages by a firm will not come under exemption. Of transportation of employee, it is not under exemption. GST is always payable. Remember, contract carriage, non-AC for public transportation is exempt. If you take it on hire for transportation of employees, it is not under exemption. Have you gone ahead and covered all the exemption, everyone? The most important exemption over here, Baba, small point, so anyone can come. But this road transportation is very important. Remember, a GTA which is there, this discussion is very important. And if GTA is not there, if it is not a GTA who is not issuing a consignment note and it is coming over here, which is individual truck wallahs, individual tempo operators, bullock cart, etc., it will always come under exemption. We are done with our discussion relating to transportation services. The next one over here is admission related services. Everyone over here, what is admission, Baba? School ka admission? No, Baba, they are talking about admission means selling of entry ticket. Entry tickets when they are being sold for a museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, or zoo. Okay, everyone. Supposing this is not Naveen. I'm not telling this is Naveen. Naveen went to the zoo. Okay, everyone. Then no value limit. Remember one thing: any amount GST will always be exempted. Okay, everyone. Next, protected monuments. Baba, if entry tickets are sold for what, everyone? Protected monuments which are declared under the Archaeological Sites and Remain Act as a protected monument. Remember, like the Taj Mahal, all these places which are there, which are being declared as a protected monument, and the tickets are being sold. Whatever is the value they charge you, there will be no GST. Sir, other than that, if admission related service means entry tickets are sold for circus, drama, circus, dance, theatrical program, drama, ballet, Award function, concert, pageant, musical performance, any sporting event, other recognized sporting event, or a recognized sporting event, or planetarium. And if the consideration charge is up to 500 rupees per person, GST shall always be exempted. Sir, if it is 510, total amount will come under GST. Sir, FIFA under 17 women. FIFA under 17 World Cup, which was held in India, the entry tickets paid, there was no GST. FIFA under 17 Women World Cup, whenever it is rescheduled, because 2020 mein to COVID came. After that, whenever it is being rescheduled, they are telling when the ticket will be sold, there will be no GST. Sir, Asian Football Confederation Women Asia Cup 2022, when the entry tickets are sold, there will be no GST. Other than that, they have told Asian Football Confederation or FIFA and its subsidiary, when they came to India for this FIFA World Cup and all, if they are taking any services or if they are providing any services, remember, if the service is certified by the Director of Sports, services taken by them or services provided by them, both will come under exemption. Other than that, I've given some notes so that you are careful in the exam. Water park, amusement park are always fully taxable. Film cities, no city, theme parks are always fully taxable. Cinema halls are always fully taxable. Sir, entry number 78. Services by way of by an artist by way of folk or performance. Performance in folk or classical art form of music, dance, theatre exempted if the consideration is up to 1.5 lakh. So all these people who perform in folk and classical art form. Remember, folk and classical art form, if you are doing performance, then you will not go ahead and charge GST on your services. The next one over here is, sir, note, performance in Bollywood song is GST is always payable. Baba Shah Rukh Khan went ahead and did lungi dance, and for lungi dance, he went ahead and charged any amount. Remember one thing, there is no GST which is exempted. GST will come. The next one over here is brand ambassador services are always fully taxable. Remember, if you are a brand ambassador for anyone and you are going ahead and doing any performances, etc., as a brand ambassador, then Baba, remember, it will always be taxable. Here we are done with your small and sweet chart relating to admission related services. Come to the next one, everyone. Come to the next one. Now, the next exemption is relating to agriculture. Everyone relating to agriculture. Agriculture being the backbone of the country, government has gone ahead and provided lot of exemption to agriculture, because agricultural produce pay generally there is no GST. Government says if people go ahead and charge GST, agriculture will not get any input tax credit, and that agricultural produce will become expensive, and hence government has gone ahead and given lot of agriculture related services pay exemption. If generally there is no output tax, hence there will be no input tax. Why? Because government is telling if no input tax credit, then it will form part of the cost and agricultural produce will become expensive, and hence government has given lot of exemption. Let's go ahead and understand agriculture related exemptions. Everyone over here. Entry number 54, which is telling services in relation to cultivation of plants. So if you are taking any services in relation to what, everyone? Cultivation of plant or rearing of life form of animal, except horses. So for cultivation of plant or rearing of life form of animal, if you are taking services, remember those services will be exempted. What they are telling is you are doing cultivation or rearing of life form of animal, can be for food, fiber, fuel, raw material, or any other similar product or agricultural produce. Basically, you are doing the cultivation for agricultural produce, or might be your rearing life form of animal for what, everyone? Food. Baba, this is food. This is also food. This is fuel. Baba, that correct, out of the cow dung which is there. Correct, everyone. Then this is fiber, the cotton which is there. This chicken is the food which is there. So if you are going ahead and doing rearing of life form of animal, or except what, everyone? Horses, rearing of life form of animal, or so any services which are in relation to cultivation of plant or rearing of life form of animals for what, everyone? Food, fiber, fuel, raw material, or any other similar product or agricultural produce, and those services are by way of agricultural operation directly in relation to production of agricultural produce, including cultivation, harvesting, threshing, plant protection, etc., and testing. So people, tell me one thing: if anyone is going ahead and providing any services in relation to cultivation of plant, testing, people, so for an example, I gave soil testing ka services, etc., plant ka protection related services, etc., all those services will be always exempted. Okay, everyone. The next one, so for doing an agriculture, what do we need? We need what, everyone? Land. So if I go ahead and take anyone's land, So if anyone is renting me vacant land with or without incidental structure, he will not go ahead and charge me any GST. Now I want agricultural machine. So anybody get me agricultural machine also, he will not charge me any GST. Sir, I want laborers. So anybody supplies me farm laborers also, he will not go ahead and charge me any GST. So if, first of all, to do the agriculture, what do we need? We need land. If anybody gives me the land, he will not charge me GST. On the land, I need a tractor, agricultural machine. If anybody is giving me agricultural machine on rent, they will not go ahead and charge me any GST. To work in the agricultural farm, I need laborers. Anybody is going ahead and giving me labor-related services, they will not go ahead and charge me any GST. Now, this next one over here is, sir, now to do the agriculture, if I am taking agriculture related services also, people will not go ahead and charge me any GST. Now, once the agriculture is done, what will you do, everyone? There are processes which are undertaken at agricultural farm like husking, dehusking, trending, pruning, cutting, drying, cleaning, fumigating, curing, sorting, grading, cooling, bulk packing services, etc. Always remember one thing, everyone. All these services which you go ahead and take, which do not change the essential characteristic but makes it marketable for primary market, those services when you take, it will always be exempted. So remember one thing, if you are supposedly going ahead and taking services which makes agricultural produce remain agricultural produce, then those services will always be exempted. But because somebody gave you a service, agricultural produce became non-agricultural produce, then that service will always be taxable. Remember what is agricultural produce and non-agricultural produce. Apple, agricultural produce. Somebody gave you a service because of which apple remained apple only. Cleaning, drying, cutting, bulk packing, etc. Apple remained apple only. Apple did not change the characteristic. Then remember that service will always be exempted. But because of the service, if Apple became happy, then that service will always be taxable. Remember, agricultural produce services which are given in relation to agricultural produce, remaining agricultural produce will be exempted. But services which are given which makes agricultural produce become non-agricultural produce, that service will always be taxable. Sir, what is agricultural produce? Apple. Apple juice is not agricultural produce. Apple, potato, agricultural produce. Potato chips are not agricultural produce. When we did one big question, potato chips had come. Potato chips related, you had given some services. Those services will always be taxable. Remember, tomato is agricultural produce, ketchup is not agricultural produce, coffee beans are agricultural produce, processed coffee beans, powder are not agricultural produce, paddy is agricultural produce, rice is not a agricultural produce. And hence, tell me one thing, if somebody does milling of paddy into rice, those services are not intermediate services and they are not exempted. They shall always be taxable. Tea leaves are agricultural produce. Tea is not agricultural produce. Sugarcane is agricultural produce. Jaggery is not an agricultural produce. Whole pulses are agricultural produce. Dehusked pulses, processed spice, processed dry fruits, biscuits are not agricultural produce. Remember, any services which are in relation to agricultural produce and which makes agricultural produce remain agricultural produce will be exempted. Other than that, any service which leads to a non-agricultural produce, agricultural produce becoming into non-agricultural will always be taxable. So, sir, first of all, I went ahead and took a land pay no GST, agricultural machine pay no GST, laborers pay no GST, cultivation related activity, testing, soil testing, there'll be no GST. Then, sir, I went ahead and did intermediate processes. For all this intermediate process, whatever services you go ahead and take, there'll be no GST. Now, you will go ahead and store the agricultural produce in a warehouse. Remember, if anybody is doing warehousing of agricultural produce or rice, that shall always be exempted. Warehousing of minor forest produce like tamarind, curry leaf, tendu bamboo, honey, etc. is always exempted. Warehousing of cereal, pulses, fruits and vegetable is also exempted. Now over here I want to tell you one thing. If fumigation services are provided, fumigation services which is plant protection related services, if they are fumigation services provided over here, exempted, not exempted? Exempted. Over here everyone, exempted. But if fumigation services are provided in a warehouse of agricultural produce, earlier it was exempted, now it is no more exempted, it is taxable. So warehouse may, if any fumigation services are provided, even though warehouse belongs to agricultural produce, still the GST will be always charged. Now, after this, the next stage comes, sir. What will happen? Sir, what will you do with your agricultural produce? Now, the goods will be sold. There will be services which are provided by the agricultural produce marketing board or commission agent under the agricultural produce marketing committee. Basically, they are going ahead and buying and selling your agricultural produce. Whatever commissions are being charged by them, they will not go ahead and charge any GST. After that, what will happen, everyone? Loading will happen. So, if loading, unloading, packaging, storage of agricultural produce or rice is happening, then always there will be no GST. Now, once the loading is done, it will be transported. Remember, transportation of agricultural produce or rice, random item. It had come in random item. Agricultural produce or rice by GTA, rail, or vessel is always exempted. Air is not exempted. Can I go ahead, everyone? Now, here, over here, it is told agricultural extension services, that is providing new knowledge or training for agricultural produce to practice to farmers. So, if you are going ahead and providing knowledge or training about the agriculture practice to farmers, then your services of agricultural extension services will always be exempted. Now, over here we have on the right side entry number 55, which goes ahead and says artificial insemination ka services. Artificial insemination ka services of livestock is always exempted, but if it is with respect to horses, it will always be taxable. The next one over here is entry number 55, which talks about services by way of pre-cooling, ripening, waxing, retail packing, labeling of fruits and vegetable, which do not change the essential characteristic, is also exempted. The next one is NCCD, National Cold Chain Development Authority, which tells you how to take your fruits, etc., or how apple, supposedly from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, how to take your apple. Correct, everyone? NCCD, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture, which is services by way of what, everyone? Cold chain knowledge dissemination. They go ahead and provide about they provide knowledge about the cold chain, etc., to the farmers. Supposedly, they are charging any amount, they will not go ahead and charge any GST. Services supplied by electricity distribution utility by way of construction, erection, commissioning, installation of infrastructure for extending electricity distribution network up to the table of the farmer or agriculture for agriculture operation. Baba, BESCOM is there. Supposedly, BESCOM has gone ahead and provided electricity for a farmer. Now, to extend the electricity from the main network to till there, they have gone ahead and charge a small amount. That amount which they go ahead and charge to an agriculturist, they will not go ahead and charge any GST. The next one over here, I've given some examples of what are rearing of life form of animal, like breeding of fish is rearing of life form of animals, silkworm, etc. This is what, everyone, horticulture, forestry, all these are what, everyone? Rearing of rearing of life form of animal or cultivation of plants related. If any services you go ahead and take in relation to this, generally government have gone ahead and given exemptions. We have covered everything here, everyone. Entry number 155 is there. Carrying out a intermediate process. All these are intermediate processes. Which one, everyone? All these are intermediate processes. If anybody goes ahead and does it as job worker also, in relation to cultivation of plant and rearing of life form of animal, all this will also be exempted. So, if you are a job worker who is going ahead and doing intermediate process with respect to cultivation of plant or rearing of life form of animal, then that will also be exempted. The most important point to remember over here is, sir, Apple related services, if you go ahead and take services in relation to agricultural produce, remaining agricultural produce, then that service will be exempted. But any service which leads to apple becoming appy, tomato becoming ketchup, sugarcane becoming jaggery, paddy becoming rice, all this intermediate process will not be exempted because it is leading to agricultural produce becoming non-agricultural produce. It will always be taxable. Done. Let's move to the next chart. Please come to the next chart, which is healthcare services. Now, the next service which we are going to talk about is the health service. Everyone over here now. Health services, first of all, you should know, before learning about the exemption relating to health service, you should know what is health services. People, health services may, they go ahead and say health service means any services by way of diagnosis. First they will diagnose, then they will do the treatment, and then diagnose, treatment, and care. And sir, it should be relating to what? Pregnancy, abnormality, illness, injury, deformity. People remember, health service means diagnosing, treating, and care. Relating to what, everyone? Pregnancy, abnormality, any illness, injury, or deformity, and it should be in recognized system of medicine. It should be in recognized system of medicine, which is Ayushan. Sir, A for allopathy, Y for yoga, U for Unani, S for Siddha treatment, H for homeopathy, A for Ayurveda, and N is naturopathy. Remember one thing, if anybody does diagnose, treatment, and care in PAIIT in Ayushan, recognized system of medicine is Ayushan. If they go ahead and do all these things, remember, diagnose, treatment, and care in PAIID in recognized system of medicine, then that person is providing what? Health services. Are we clear? But remember, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, Reiki treatment, all these are unrecognized. Baba, I told you about Baba. Baba went ahead and took a broom and gave you jhada. Correct? All those treatments are not recognized system. Remember, hence always GST will be payable provided their turnover is more than registration limit. They will go ahead and start charging GST. Everyone over here now. Health services, we understood diagnose, treatment and care in PAIID in Ayushan. But sir, health services also includes services by way of transportation of patient to or fro a clinical establishment. Taking a patient from a clinical establishment, home, hospital, say home to the hospital, all this transportation of a patient is always exempted. Baba, when a person is a patient, that time transportation is also exempted in healthcare services. When a person is gone, then that transportation is not exempted. It is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Are we clear, everyone? Next, health services does not include hair transplant. For example, this is Naveen over here for a classroom purpose. Okay, everyone? Naveen got the hair transplant done over here. Hair transplant and cosmetic and plastic surgery, if it is done for beautification, if you can afford beautification, you can afford GST also. It is not healthcare. If it is not healthcare, it is not exempted. But if it is done to restore or restructure defect or injury, then always remember one thing. It is what, everyone? It's a healthcare. And now, healthcare services provided by whom will be exempted? Healthcare service. Baba, during COVID, I told you have COVID. I started giving people dolo. Am I providing healthcare service? Yes. But healthcare service by whom are exempted? Healthcare services provided by clinical establishment. Clinical establishment means nursing home, hospital, nursing home, clinic, sanatorium, or any other institution that offers what? Diagnose, treatment, and care for pregnancy, abnormality, illness, injury, and deformity in Ayushan, and a place to carry out diagnostic or investigation service, labs, etc., diagnostic labs, etc. All these are what, everyone? Clinical establishment, and their service will always be exempted. The next is authorized medical practitioner going ahead and giving their services, which are healthcare services. Healthcare services by authorized medical practitioner who are registered with the council. Their services are also healthcare services, will be there. If they are providing healthcare service, that will also be exempted. Sir, paramedics going ahead and giving healthcare services. Paramedics are basically trained healthcare professional who are what, everyone? Nursing staff, physiotherapists and technicians. Their services also will be exempted provided they are giving healthcare services, which we have learned over here. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is, sir, if healthcare services are given by Baba, healthcare services already includes transportation of patient to or fro a clinical establishment. Now, supposingly, if transportation of patient in an ambulance other than those in A, if supposingly during the COVID time, I started running an ambulance, my services also they are going and telling transportation of patient ka services you are giving. You are not a clinical establishment, but still your services will be exempted. The next is services by veterinary clinic in relation to health care of animal, birds, etc. Baba, animal, birds, etc. This one not. This one. ठीक है everyone? Animal, birds, etc. हाँ, ठीक है. Sorry. Okay, what I meant was animal, birds, etc. Their healthcare also is being exempted. The next one over here, when you come down, circular. What are they telling over here? Circular may room rent charge for inpatient. Remember, room rent charge for inpatient is basically for care. And sir, there also exemption is there, but exemption is limited to 5,000 rupees per day per person. If the amount is exceeding 5,000 rupees per day per person, always it will be taxable. It will be shown separately, and they will go ahead and charge you GST on that room rent. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is doctors and consultants give services to the hospital, and hospitals provide the services to the customer ultimately. Now, when doctors are providing the services to the hospital and hospital is paying them, is that also healthcare? Yes, they told doctors are hired by hospital and hospital pays them. That is also exempted. Now, hospital went ahead and supposedly one person is admitted in the hospital. Hospital charged 10,000 rupees. 7,500 was for treatment, etc. 2,500 they kept because they retained 2,500 because they went ahead and did other blood checkup, or might be they went ahead and did other services like BP checkup, etc. or BP checking, etc. They kept 2,500 rupees. Now they are going ahead and telling retention money which is being charged from patient is also covered in healthcare, and that will also be exempted. Sir, if a person is being admitted in the hospital, Baba, he is not admitted to eat over there. He is admitted in the hospital to take healthcare service. Along with the healthcare, if food etc. is being provided to an inpatient who is admitted. It's a composite supply bundled with healthcare. And sir, food ke upar also GST will not come because the principal supply healthcare is exempt. Food etc. provided will also go exempted. Now, food to outpatient, whenever a person is admitted, Baba, that person go to meet many people will come. First, they will go to the canteen and eat. When the canteen is going ahead and providing services to outpatient, or basically outpatient does not mean those relatives. Relatives are here, visitors, attendants, or any outpatient. Outpatient means who is not admitted and he goes to the canteen and eats something. Always GST will be payable. The canteen will charge you GST. Now, next, ambulance services provided under the National Health Mission. Always remember, National Health Mission, dial 108. That ambulance service which is provided is also exempt under entry number 3 or 3A. What is entry number 3 or 3A? Well, basically it is pure service or composite supply where value of goods is 25% in relation to 243 G and W. Because ambulance services comes under 243 G and W, these services, if they are provided by anyone to the government, it shall be exempted under entry number 3 or 3A. Clinical establishment gives shop, Baba, healthcare services does not include giving shops on rent. Sir, giving shops, auditorium on rent, display of advertisement, always GST will be payable. Remember, services by way of in vitro fertilization, which is IVF, are covered under healthcare and it will also be exempted. Healthcare is nothing, Baba, healthcare includes treatment for pregnancy and IVF is nothing other than treatment for pregnancy. Remember one thing for your exam, healthcare services always includes diagnose, treatment, care in pregnancy, abnormality, illness, injury, and deformity in Ayushan, Ayurveda or allopathy, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy, Ayushan. H is homeopathy, A for Ayurveda, and N for naturopathy. Remember, Ayushan is always healthcare service, and healthcare diagnose, treatment, and care in relation to PAIID in Ayushan is healthcare, and healthcare services provided by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner, or paramedics is always exempted. The next one over here is our legal services. Please come to our legal services ka chart, everyone. In the legal services, first of all, you must know what is legal services. Legal services means any services provided in relation to advice, consultancy, assistance in any branch of law, and it includes what, everyone? Representational service before the court, tribunal, or any authority. So, sir, legal services provided by whom are exempted? In legal services, it comes if there is a firm of advocate of their individual as advocate, sir, or senior advocate. Remember one thing, whenever they are going ahead and providing services, always remember, if they are providing services to a business entity, which is whose turnover in the last year is more than registration limit, correct, everyone, then business entity will pay the GST under RCM. All other cases, legal services provided by advocate, senior advocate, or firm of advocate will always be exempted. But one more service, which is an addition over here, firm of advocate or individual as advocate providing services to another advocate, or it is providing to another firm of advocate, that is under exemption. If they are providing services to whom? Person other than business entity, who's other than business entity, then Baba, remember, it is exempted. If they are providing to a business entity whose turnover in the last year was less than registration limit, then Baba, exempted. If they are providing to a business entity whose turnover in the last year was more than registration limit, then RCM will come. If they are providing to central government, state government, union territory, local authority, governmental authority, or governmental entity, then also it is exempt. Senior advocate going ahead and providing services to person other than business entity, exempt. Business entity last year ka turnover, last year, not current year. Don't see current year ka turnover, see last year ka turnover is more than registration limit, then RCM, less than or up to registration limit, then it exempt. If it is provided to the government, then also it is exempt. Remember one thing, same thing is applicable for arbitral tribunal also. Arbitral tribunal going ahead and providing services to person other than business entity is exempt. Last year ka turnover less than equal to registration limit, then also exempt. But last year business entity ka turnover more than registration limit, then GST will be payable under RCM. If provided to government, also it will be exempted. Sir, what should we remember for exam purpose? Remember, arbitral tribunal, advocate, firm of advocate, or senior advocate providing to a business entity plus business entity ka aggregate turnover in the last year is more than registration limit, then RCM will come. This is the most important point you should remember for your exam. Can I go ahead, everyone? And sir, here I've gone ahead and told what do you mean by governmental authority? Governmental authority means in which 90% participation is of the government. And sir, It is made basically to do those functions which are told under 243G and W, and governmental entity will do any function which is entrusted by the government. And sir, here I have told you about who is a local authority also, only for the purpose of reading. I'll close my discussion on the legal services over here. Now, the next chart over here is education and skill. Please come to your education wala chart. Everyone over here. First of all, in education and skill, you have to remember what do you mean by an educational institution. When you read about an educational institution, it says educational institution means an institution providing services by way of preschool up to 12th, or education as a part of curriculum for obtaining qualification recognized by law, or education as a part of approved vocational education course. Always remember, first of all, school up to 12th, preschool up to 12th. Number one, your degree colleges which are there, postgraduate degree colleges also included over here. Or if there is a education which is provided as a part of what, everyone, approved vocational education course, then Baba, that person is also an educational institution. Remember one thing, educational institution providing services, any services if they are providing, educational institution, which is what, everyone, educational institution means what, preschool up to 12, education which provides a degree basically. Educational institution means who is providing education which will lead to a degree, degree college, post graduation degree college, etc. And the last one is approved vocational education course provider. They are going ahead and telling all the three, if they are providing, when they are providing any services to their student, faculty and staff, it will always be exempted. But sir, to their prospective student, they will go ahead and take their entrance test. They are not their student, but they are telling if they are conducting examination services by way of conduct of examination against entrance fees also will be exempted. Now, services provided by an educational institution is exempt. What are the services given to an educational institution? If you are giving, that will also be exempted over here, everyone. So, if you are providing a preschool up to 12th course, supposing transportation ka service, transportation of student, faculty and staff ka service, catering including midday meal services by the government. Sir, if you are providing security, cleaning, housekeeping services, remember, sir, security, cleaning, housekeeping services should be performed in such institution within the campus. Supposingly, a school ka annual day function is going on and that is going on outside the school and you have provided security services, that will not be exempted. Always remember, security, cleaning, housekeeping services should be provided within the campus. And then they are telling admission or conduct of examination related service. So if educational institution is going ahead and giving services of conduct of examination to the student, any fees charge, what will happen? Exempted. If they are taking this exam related services, if they are taking the exam related services also, it shall be always exempted. Like printing of paper, people are setting the paper and giving, people are correcting the paper, whatever amount is being paid to those people will charge an amount and it will be always exempted. So services taken with respect to admission or conduct of examination related service also will be exempted. These four services are exempted when they are provided to an educational institution up to 12th. Are we clear? Now, the last one is not exempt. Now, if you come to the next one, transportation service, catering, security, cleaning, housekeeping services are not exempted when they are provided to an educational institution which is basically providing qualification recognized by law, basically a degree college or post graduation degree college ko if transportation services are provided, it is not exempt. Sir, catering services, security, cleaning, housekeeping services provided, it is not exempt. What is exempt, everyone? Admission or conduct of examination related service or online educational journal or periodical related service, because college ka students will read online journal. So if you are going in and providing online journal or periodical related services to an educational institution which is degree or post graduation degree, etc., all those services will also be exempted. Now here the last one over here is transportation, catering, security, cleaning, housekeeping, online journal, etc. services are not exempt, but only admission or conduct of examination related services are exempted when you are providing it to whom? Approved vocational education course ka institution which is there. Then everyone, one additional point is over here which I want to tell you guys. So supposingly one person goes ahead and gives school bus or any motor vehicle to a person who is going ahead and providing services to an educational institution up to 12 of what? Transportation of the student. So if you are providing me the transportation of student ka services, that is exempted. Now on the back end, if you take anyone's a motor vehicle, that will also be exempted. So it says entry number 22, which you had gone ahead and learned in your transportation related service. In that, one more point is there which goes ahead and says, sir, giving on hire motor vehicle for transportation of student, faculty and staff to a person providing services of transportation of student, faculty and staff to an educational institution. So if I am providing to an educational institution transportation of student, faculty and staff ka service, my service is exempt. If you are giving me a motor vehicle so that I can provide the service, your service also will not charge me any GST. But remember one thing, if I am giving to a college, then my service is not exempt. If I go ahead and take a motor vehicle from you, that will also be not exempt. Now, sir, if you are providing to a 12th wala institute, then it is exempt. If you are providing to a degree college or a post-graduation degree to college, or if you are providing to an approved vocational education course provider, it is taxable. But when they provide it to the student, always remember any three of them providing the transportation service to the student, when they are taking, it is only exempt in the first case. But when they are providing in all the three cases, student, faculty and staff, any services provided will be exempted. Are we clear, everyone? The next one over here is on the right hand side. There are some circulars which I have gone ahead and included over here. Maritime institutions. Sir, maritime institution means who are going in and providing ship related courses. They are telling ship related courses who are providing, those are also educational institution, and as course conducted by them are always exempted. Supply of food and beverages by the educational institution itself. Sir, educational institution, any three of them providing student, faculty and staff ko food, exempted. Remember one thing, it is always exempted. But if any supposedly college went ahead and provided you the contract and you are running the canteen in the contract, remember, but if services if supplied by other person based on contractual agreement with the educational institution, then they will always go ahead and charge the GST will be payable. Okay. Entrance test fees is for issuance of eligibility certificate, migration certificate, always are being exempted. Anganwadis, remember, Anganwadis are preschools and Anganwadis provide non-formal education, hence serving of food to them always exempted. Remember one thing, Anganwadi, Baba, catering services provided to Anganwadis is always exempted. And sir, whether it is sponsored by government or donation from companies. Remember, catering services provided to Anganwadis will always be exempt, whether the catering ka money was given by government or whether it was given by a company as a CSR activity. It will always be exempted. Next is IIMs. IIMs are educational institution. All long-term courses conferring degree or diploma is always exempt because they will come over here. And when they are giving services to their student, faculty and staff, it will always be exempted. But short time courses, short duration courses like executive development program, EDPs, etc., always GST will be payable because that is not leading to a degree recognized under law. Everyone over here now. Sir, remember one thing, central board and state boards are treated as educational institution only for the limited purpose of providing services by way of conduct of examination. So central board, state boards which are there, if they are going ahead and taking a 10th ka, 12th ka examination and they have gone ahead and charged you a fees, they are also educational institution only for the limited purpose of what services, everyone? Conducting examination related service. And when they are taking they are conducting exam related, when they are providing exam related service and taking money from you, they will not charge any GST. My point over here, when they are going ahead and giving you services and that service is exempt, when examination related services are being taken by them, that will also come under exemption because they are termed as educational institution only for the limited purpose of providing examination. So people over here, when they are going ahead and treated as educational institution only for conducting what? Examination. Now to conduct the examination, if they are taking services, that will also be exempted. Over here is, there is a circular. Such services provided by the board by way of conduct of examination against entrance fees is always, against a fees is always exempted. Now input services like relating to admission to or conduct of examination such as result publication, printing of admit card, question paper received by the board will also be exempted. Any other services provided by the board like accreditation services which they are giving to schools, colleges, etc., that will always be taxable. Now over here there is an amendment which has come, then a clarification has come that sir, all this is any authority, board set up by the central government, state government, including national testing agency for conduct of examination for admission to an educational institution. Our national testing agency or any authority, board which is set up by the government, which takes examination of the student, and when the student passes that examination, he can get admission to a college. Now when they are taking the test of the student and charging a fees, for example, all these JEE ka exams are being held, they go ahead and take your test and they charge you an amount. Now if you pass in that exam, you can get institution mein admission. So Baba, they are telling over here, any authority, any board any authority, board or body which is set up by the government, including national testing agency, for conduct of examination for admission to educational institution shall be treated as educational institution for the limited purpose of providing what, everyone? Services by way of conduct of examination for admission to the educational institution. So Baba, all these national testing agencies etc which are there, which are set up by the government, where they will go ahead and take your examination and charge you a fees. On that fees also GST will not come. Are we clear, everyone? That is what, everyone? They are also treated as what, everyone? They are treated as educational institution for the limited purpose of providing services by way of conduct of examination for admission. Means when you pass their national testing agency, when they take your test and you pass it, then you will get admission to an educational institution. So they are termed as an educational institution only for the limited purpose of conducting examination. Are we clear, everyone? And when you are termed as educational institution only for the limited purpose of conducting examination, if you take any input services for getting that examination conducted, all those input services also will be exempted. Are we all clear till here? Everyone over here. Sir, what do you mean by this approved vocational education course? Approved vocational education course means a course which is run by the institute, industrial training institute, industrial training center affiliated to the national or the state council for vocational training, which offers course in designated trade like sir plumber ka course, electrician ka course. All these courses are being provided. Basically they are telling it's a course which is run by the ITI, industrial training institute, or industrial training center, and which is affiliated to the national council for vocational training or state council for vocational training. And then it says approved vocational education course also includes, sir, an employable modular employable skill course, a skill course which will lead to employment, approved by the National Council for Vocational Training, and which is run by a person registered under the Directorate General of Training, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Done, everyone. The next one over here is, sir, skill related some services also have been exempted. Remember, entry number 69, services provided by National Skill Development Council, Sectoral Skill Council, approved by the NSDC. So services which are provided by the NSDC or NSDC ke under, there is whom, everyone? Sectoral Skill Council, or an assessment agency who is doing the assessment and which is under the NSDC or which is under the Sectoral Skill Council, or a training partner who is under the NSDC or Sectoral Skill Council, his services also will be exempted. So they are telling either NSDC is providing the service or Sectoral Skill Council is providing the service, or sir, under them there is an assessment body, or might be there is a training partner and they are providing the services, they will also be exempted. They are telling services provided by assessing bodies who are empaneled under the Director General of Training by way of assessment under the Skill Development Initiative. So Baba, that assessment bodies cut services also will be exempted. And the last one, if you are a training provider, if you are a training provider under the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kushal Yojana, then Baba, your services also will be exempted by way of offering skill or vocational training courses. If you are a training provider under the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kushal Yojana, your services also will be exempted. Very, very important is education related chart from exam point of view. Might be this attempt in the November, you might not go ahead and get any question, but still this amendment is there. You never know, November, May, whenever question will come, because education is a very important chart, right, everyone? Chalo, I'll close my discussion on education and skills. The next one over here is insurance related services. Baba, insurance related services, I am not going to teach you insurance related services that okay, these are the insurance, this is what is the content of the insurance, but just to make you memorize, so that if any point comes out of it, you will be able to answer. I've gone ahead and drawn a chart over here. Sir, entry number 35 goes ahead and says general insurance business which is under the following scheme. Number one, Baba, in a village you will have a hut insurance scheme will be always exempted. Correct? Any premium which is paid, always GST will be exempted. Beside the hut, you have a self-employed woman. Self-employed woman ka group personal accident policy also with GST will be exempted. Now, sir, this woman has some cattle who are there. Correct? So they are going in and telling central sector scheme on cattle insurance or cattle insurance scheme which is there. Baba, central sector scheme on cattle insurance or cattle insurance scheme pe there will be always no GST. This cattle comes and hits, then Baba, this self-employed women ka personal accident policy also there is no GST. This women ka husband is over here, tribal insurance, they are going ahead and telling any tribal insurance also there will be no GST. This tribal person was going in a bike, now they are telling what if he fell down, Janta personal accident policy or Gramin accident policy also there will be no GST. This person became old. When he becomes old, Jan Arogya Bima, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima, Nirmaya health insurance policies also GST will not come. On the premium, they will not charge any GST. Baba, besides this home, you have a coconut and palm insurance, there is no GST. Sir, now these people will do agriculture. So when you do the agriculture over here, Bangla Sasya Bima, Modified National Agricultural Scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Rashtriya Krishi Bima Yojana, pilot scheme on seed crop insurance, all this. Baba, under this crops, you will have seed. The pilot scheme which was launched for the seed crop insurance, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Rashtriya Krishi Bima Yojana, Modified National Health Insurance, or Bangla Sasya Bima, all these insurances which are there relating to agriculture, GST will not come. Now, to do the agriculture, you will need what? Well and pump set. So agricultural pump set and failed well ka insurance which is there, on that also GST will not come. Once you have done the agriculture, Baba, to do the agriculture you need weather. So restructured weather based crop insurance also there is no GST. And on the left hand side, sir, whatever export credits are there, export credit ka insurance also there is no GST. When you go ahead and see this whole, it is whole itself a universe, right everyone? This whole itself is a universe. Universal health insurance or Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima also there is no GST. These are the various insurances which are told under entry number 35. Other than that, we have on the left hand side life insurance. Remember one thing, this was general insurance. Now, this is what life insurance business is under Janashri Bima Yojana, Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana, Sir Aam Aadmi is there, Aam Aadmi Bima Yojana, life micro product having maximum coverage up to 2 lakh rupees. What is micro product, everyone? Small products where the maximum coverage, life insurance का product where the coverage maximum is 2 lakh. 2 lakh का coverage के लिए the premium will be so small that they are telling don't go ahead and charge any GST. वरिष्ठ पेंशन योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जन धन योजना and प्रधानमंत्री वाया वंदना योजना. That is why I made प्रधानमंत्री over here. Remember, life insurance services which are provided under these yojanas, there will be no GST. Now, if you come down on the right hand side, Baba, Indian Army etc. का case में what happens? There is a central government का group insurance fund which is there. Group insurance fund के under these people are insured and they will pay a small premium amount. On their premium also there will be no GST. So they are telling life insurance services to Army, Navy, Air Force, Coastal Guard, or CAPF. Baba, CAPF means Centrally Armed Police Force. Centrally Armed Police Force includes BSF, CRPF, all these people are included in the Centrally Armed Police Force under the group insurance fund. Baba, under the group insurance fund, they are being insured and a small premium is being charged. There will be no GST. Then the next one over here, any life insurance businesses which are provided by way of annuity under the national pension system, also there is no GST. Sir, on the left hand side, I have told services provided to central government, state government, union territory under an insurance scheme where the total premium is paid by the government. Already I have told you this in your government related services, that life insurance services provided to the government where the total life insurance or general insurance, whatever insurance scheme may any premium is paid by the government, there will be no GST. The last one, entry number 36A was inserted where it went ahead and told 35, entry number 35, 36 and Baba 40 May, whenever life insurance services or general insurance services are being provided, then GST is not there. Baba, if you get the reinsurance done, reinsurance services in relation to what everyone? 35, 36 and 40 also there will be no GST. This was a small and sweet chart on insurance related services. Please come to the next chart. Other exemption. Please come to the next chart. Now, the next one is other exemption. Please come to the next exemption, everyone. Services by way of transfer of going concern as a whole or part thereof. Remember one thing, transfer went in and transferred the goods. And Baba, he went in and transferred the assets also. He went in and transferred the liabilities also. Over here, when you go ahead and transfer all the assets, when you go ahead and transfer all the liabilities, basically you have transferred your business as going concern as a part or an independent part thereof. Remember one thing, it shall always be exempted. The next is services by way of transfer of renting of residential house for the purpose of residence. Renting of residential house for residential purpose is always exempt, but exemption will not be applicable when it is rented out to a registered person. Here they have inserted one explanation now. Because when it is rented out to a registered person, GST will always be payable under RCM. See, renting of residential house is exempted. Renting of residential house for the purpose of residence is always exempted. But when it is rented out to a registered person has to pay GST under RCM. For an example, for my office use, I've gone ahead and taken a residential property where my office employees are being staying, and I'm claiming it as my business expense. But in that scenario, I have to go ahead and pay GST under RCM. Explanation is being inserted now. This entry shall cover services by way of renting of residential dwelling to a registered person where means exemption will apply where the registered person is a proprietor of a proprietorship firm and renting of the residential proper dwelling is in the personal capacity for use as his own resident. Means I've gone ahead and taken residential property on rent. Although I'm a registered person, but Baba, the residential property was taken in personal capacity. I'm not claiming it as my business expense. In that scenario, it will be still exempted. I don't have to pay any GST under RCM. And the next is exemption will apply if such renting is on own account and not of that of the proprietorship concerned. So basically, what they are trying to tell over here, supposing you are an individual or you have a registered proprietorship firm which is registered under GST, but the residential property which has been taken by you on rent, you are not going ahead and claiming it as an expense in the business. It's your personal residential property which you are taken. Then in that scenario, GST need not be paid under RCM. It will be exempted. This is the amendment 23 over here. Services by Coal Mine Provident Fund Organization, ESI, Employee Provident Fund Organization. Remember, Coal Mine Provident Fund Organization, Employee Provident Fund Organization, Employee State Insurance Corporation, all their services will always be exempted. Services by way of access to road or bridge on payment of toll is always exempted. Earlier, services by way of access to road or bridges on payment of annuity when it was annuity payment, then also it was exempted. Now this has been deleted and hence it is taxable now. Only the services by way of access to road or bridges on payment of toll is under exemption. Then over here services, sir, whenever toll payment is done nowadays, higher toll is there when you don't have fast tag or overloading ka case mein, or higher toll charges for not having fast tag, that will also be exempted. Overloading charges or higher toll charges which are charged at the toll booths also will be under exemption. Transmission distribution of electricity by a transmission distribution utility also will be exempted. Remember, but transmission and distribution of electricity is exempt. Now, if the electricity distribution utility is going ahead and giving you what? Charging application or testing fees, meter rental, shifting charges, etc., that will always be taxable. Interest on loans and advances and forex conversion, bank to bank, dealer to bank, etc., other than interest involved in credit card services. Remember, credit card mein whatever interest is being charged, that pay GST will come. Other than that, all the interest which is there is an exempt supply. Are we clear, everyone? But sir, one point I'll link over here. When you go to section number 17.3, your apportionment ka purpose ke liye, always remember interest is not to be considered as exempt supply other than in case of banking services. Banking companies ke liye interest is exempt supply in apportionment also, but other people interest is not considered as exempt supply for the purpose of apportionment. But generally, interest is exempted. Can I go ahead, everyone? Next. So one more point I'll tell. When you are doing composition ka question, in composition levy, remember interest always is to be ignored from aggregate turnover also and from turnover also. Correct, everyone? Next. Can I go ahead, everyone? One more point I'll tell you. Registration chapter may, even though you have interest income, even though interest income will come in your aggregate turnover, but still, even though interest is the supply of service, but still you will be assumed as an exclusive supplier of goods and you will get a higher limit of 40 lakh. Can I go ahead, everyone? Chalo. Next, services to banking company, services to saving bank account holder under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, zero balance accounts which are opened. On that also, whenever any service is provided, there will be no GST on the service. Bank charges on credit card and debit card exempt up to rupees 2000 per transaction. Debit card and bank charges, Baba, whenever you are using your debit card, credit card, etc., supposingly I am over here, I used your debit card, credit card, I went ahead and the transaction amount was up to 2000, my bank will charge me an amount. When the bank will charge me an amount, they will not charge on that amount any GST. Here one circular has come, incentives which are paid by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ministry of Information, Electronics and Information Technology to the acquiring bank for promotion of what everyone? Rupee debit card and low value Bhim UPI transaction are subsidiaries, but they are also exempted. Remember one thing, incentives which are paid by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology to the banks are subsidy and it is being exempted. The next one over here, services by way of collection of contribution under the Atal Pension Yojana or any pension scheme of the state government is also under exemption. Services by business facilitator, business correspondent to a banking company with respect to its rural area branch, people remember, services by business facilitator or business correspondent in respect of to a banking company in respect of rural area branch or any person as intermediary to business correspondent or business facilitator, their intermediary ka services with respect to rural area branch shall also be exempted. And also they have told services by business facilitator or business correspondent to an insurance company in the rural area is also exempted, but not their intermediary. I am telling only services by business facilitator and business correspondent to insurance company are exempted, not business facilitator or business correspondent when they are providing services to insurance company with respect to rural area branch. If they have any with respect to rural area, if they have any intermediary services will not be exempted. The next one over here is intermediary services of financial services located intermediate services of financial services like banking services etc. located in a multi-services SEZ with IFSC status, international financial service status, center ka status to customers outside India when they are providing their service. On that service also there will be no GST. The next one is upfront amount for granting of long-term lease of 30 years or more of industrial plot or plot for development of infrastructure for financial business provided by whom? State Industrial Development Corporation or undertaking or by any other entity having 20% or more to the industrial unit or developer of any industrial or financial area business. Remember one thing, supposingly SIDC has gone ahead and provided me a plot so that I can develop industry over there. I am paying any amount for the long-term lease when I'm paying the upfront amount because they gave me long-term lease of land. I am going ahead and paying them an upfront amount. Upfront amount pay, they will not go ahead and charge any GST. Remember, this upfront amount can be paid in installment also. Then also GST will not come. This upfront amount pay GST is not there. Monthly rents when I'm paying to the SIDC on that GST will come. Is my point clear to all? Upfront amount paid in one shot, no GST. Upfront amount paid in installment, also no GST. But other than upfront amount, if I'm paying any monthly rent pay GST will come. Now SIDC sometimes goes ahead and says, sir, do you want any preferential land? Might be which is closer to the road. Then if they go ahead and charge you any preferential location charges paid upfront in addition to the lease premium, then remember upfront amount might be they told, sir, upfront amount is 1 crore if you take this land, this other land is preferential land, if you want this you have to pay 1.5 crore. But that preferential charges which they have taken, that is also upfront amount and that will also be exempted. On the right hand side we have services by way of transfer of development right, floor space index or upfront amount payable in respect of services by way of granting of long term lease of 30 years or more on or after 1/4/2019 for construction of what everyone? Residential apartment by a promoter intended for sale to a buyer before completion certificate of first occupancy, whichever is earlier, shall be exempted. Sir, what do they mean over here? Listen to me very carefully. For an example, sir, whenever somebody is giving me long-term lease for land or floor space index or Baba, I'm so okay. You went ahead and gave me a development right or floor space index, or you went ahead and gave me a long-term lease of land. I'm going to give you an upfront amount. In that scenario, if I am a real estate developer, I always had to pay GST under RCM, section number 93. But sir, I will not pay the GST under RCM. It will be exempted on the development right, floor space index, or the long-term lease, provided I have sold all the property before completion certificate or first occupancy, whichever is earlier. If I have sold all the property before completion certificate or first occupancy, whichever is earlier, then on sale of these flats, GST will come and long-term lease or development right pay GST will be exempted. But sir, if I have sold the flat after completion certificate or first occupancy, whichever is earlier, on sale of flat, GST will not be there, and hence on long-term lease or floor space index or development right, I have to pay the GST under RCM. The next one over here is incubator and incubatica services. Baba, do you remember incubator and incubati? Baba, these were the incubatees. What is this, everyone? These are the incubatees and this was the incubator. Who is an incubator, everyone? Array, who is an incubator? I love drawing. Who is an incubator, everyone? Incubator is the person basically who is giving warmth to the startups. Are we clear, everyone? They are going in and telling incubator ka services are also exempt. Betis who are be given the warmth by the incubator. Incubating ka services are also being exempted. Remember one thing, services provided by incubatee. This incubatees, when they are going in and providing the services, they are telling within the premises. They should be within the premises of what? Technology business incubator. They should be within the premises of Science and Technology Enterprise Park, STEP, or Baba, if they are okay, they are within the premises of TBI or STEP and they are providing their services up to 3 years. Up to 50 lakh rupees, their services will be exempted, provided last year turnover in any year has not exceeded what, everyone? 50 lakh rupees. They are telling over here services by incubatee within the premises of Technology Business Incubator or Science and Technology Enterprise Park up to a turnover of 50 lakh in the financial year, provided last year turnover was less than 50 lakh and 3 years have not lapsed. The next over here is incubator. Who is an incubator, everyone? The person who is giving the work. His services also will be exempted. They are telling incubator, who is services provided by Technology Business Incubator, Science and Technology Enterprise Park, or Bio Incubator. Which incubators, everyone? TBI or STEP or Bio Incubator. Their services also will be exempted. And remember, when they are providing their services to these people, it will be exempt. When these people are providing their services outside, these people का services provided to the outside world, first 3 years के लिए services up to 50 lakh will be exempted, provided last year का turnover in any year does not exceed what, everyone? 50 lakh rupees. Everyone over here, services provided by way of collection and providing news by an independent news journalist, Press Trust of India or United News of India. Always remember, services provided by way of collecting or providing news by an independent news journalist, Press Trust of India or United News of India. Their services also will be exempted. The next one over here is services by an organizer to any person for business exhibition held outside India. Sir, business exhibition. Remember, this point is very, very important. So, if I am an organizer of a business exhibition which is going to be held outside India, my services also will be exempted. In a big question, they can give this to you as a part. Please remember, services by way of sponsorship of sporting event organized by the National Sporting Federation, Indian University, Inter University State Board. Baba, remember, sponsorship services provided to body corporate or partnership firm. Body corporate or partnership firm pays the GST under RCM. Other cases में forward charge is there. But sir, in sponsorship services also, please remember, if sponsorship services are provided to whom, everyone? Sponsorship of sporting event means you are providing the money and I'm providing sponsorship service relating to sporting event, and the sporting event is organized by whom? National Sports Federation, Indian University, Inter University State Board. Then it shall be exempted. Services by a foreign diplomat mission. It comes as a part of a big question. Services provided by a foreign diplomat mission located in India. Services provided to is not exempt. Services provided by is always exempted. Services provided under the Right to Information Act, RTI Act के अंदर whenever you are applying for your copies, etc. Yes or no, everyone? They will not charge any GST. The next is services provided to a recognized sports body by a player, referee, umpire, coach, team manager, or by another recognized sports body. One recognized sports body to another recognized sports body. Sir, recognized sports body ko player, referee, umpire is providing the service. There will be no GST. Remember, other than this, supposing there is a selectator, commentator, curator, all these people providing services to the recognized sports body, GST will come. The next is services by non-profit entity registered to its own member by way of reimbursement of charges or share of contribution as a trade union. If it is providing the service, GST will be exempted. Or sir, non-profit entity for carrying out it is providing services to its own member for what, everyone? For carrying out an activity which is exempt under GST and it is charging an amount, or if a non-profit entity which is registered and providing services to its own member and by way of reimbursement of charges, it is taking from the member. And what is the non-profit entity? Non-profit entity ka charges are up to what, everyone? 7,500 per month per member for sourcing goods or service from third person for the common use of the member in a housing society. Basically, if there is a resident welfare association providing services to the member and charging up to 7,500 per month per member, then GST will be exempted. Good exam point of view. Please take care. Circular is there. Sir, supply of service by RWA to its member up to 7,500 per month per member are exempted. RWA requires to pay GST only if the subscription amount is more than 7,500 per month per member plus Baba, only if 7,500 say exceeded, no, you also have to be a registered person and aggregate turnover of the RWA by way of supply of service or supply of goods is more than equal to 20 lakh. M square NT का केस में Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura का केस में the limit will be only 10 lakh rupees. RWAs are entitled. So Baba, people tell me one thing. Supposingly it is going in and charging 10,000 rupees to the members and it is already registered. Will it charge GST? When it is charging GST, will it get input tax credit? Yes, sir, it will go ahead and get input tax credit. RWAs are entitled to take ITC of the GST paid on capital goods and provided you are charging GST, you will get ITC. Sir, if I am charging on some and some ke liye I am charging less than 7,500, I am not charging, then Baba, taxable supply, exempt supply, apportionment. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is, sir, ceiling limit of 7,500 per month per member shall be applied separately for each residential property. I have two properties in a resident welfare association. Supposing I went ahead and paid 7,500 into 2, 15,000. Will it come under GST? No, sir, because 7,500 has to be seen per flat wise. The next is, sir, if the amount exceeds 7,500, GST will be payable only on the differential or the entire amount. Sir, GST will shall be payable only on the entire amount. Remember one thing, the next one over here is services by non-profit entity engaged in activity for welfare of industrial, agricultural labor, farmer. So non-profit entity might be taking some money from them and doing their welfare. So sir, promotion of trade, commerce, industry, agriculture, art, science, literature, culture, sports, education, social welfare, charitable activity and protection of environment to its own member against a membership fees up to 1,000 per annum per member shall also be exempted. The next one over here is services provided by way of pure labor contract. Pure labor contract of what, everyone? Construction, erection, commissioning, installation, completion, fitting out, repair, maintenance, pure labor contract. Remember, pure labor contract of construction, erection, commissioning, installation, completion, fitting out, repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration of a civil structure or any other original work. Baba, it is repair or it is original work pertaining to beneficiary-led housing construction, individual house construction, enhancement under the Housing for All Urban Mission or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, I have been given financial assistance by the government. Now, I told one person that I have to repair my home or I have to get my house renovated or might be I have to get a new house done. You provide me pure labor ka services. When I am making the payment to him, he will not charge me any GST because I am under the Housing for All mission of the government or I am under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So in that scenario, this person will not charge me any GST for repairing my home or going ahead and doing a new construction. The next one over here is services by way of pure labor contract of construction, erection, commissioning of or installation of original work pertaining to single residential house will also be exempted. Remember, if I have not gone ahead and got any Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana ke under any support of the government, but still, if I am going ahead and making my own home, single residential house, and you are providing me pure labor contracts, then Baba, pure laborers you are providing me and I am making the payment to you. In that scenario, you will not charge me GST because roti, kapda and makan, what do you say, food, clothing and shelter should never be expensive and hence government says no GST. But remember, it is pure labor. Number two, it is in relation to single residential house. In the exam, if they give you commercial house and all, please be very careful. It will always be taxable. Services of public conveyance like 1 rupee, 2 rupees wala toilet is always exempt. Public libraries are always exempt. The next one is tour operator service which are performed partly in India or partly outside India, supplied by a tour operator to a foreign tourist. Baba, whenever a foreign tourist is there, supposedly one foreign tourist is there, one tour operator is there, tour operator is going in and providing the service and this foreign tourist is there, he is come on a tour and the tour is happening partly in India and partly outside India. Remember one thing, to the extent of the tour happening in India, GST will come. To the extent of the tour happening outside India, GST will not come. But the exemption relating to the tour, for an example, he has come on a tour to India and Baba, the tour operator ka services which are being provided, the tour is going to be 1 lakh rupees is being charged. Tour is going to be 2 days in India and 3 days in Nepal. Remember one thing, 1 lakh rupees say exemption will be how much, everyone? 1 lakh into 3 days outside India. 3 divided by 5 days, it means 60,000, or maximum will be 50% of this. The exemption will be restricted on only 50,000 rupees. 1 lakh minus 50, you will have to pay GST on 50,000 rupees. Are we clear, everyone? That is what they are telling over here. That, sir, tour operator service which are performed partly in India and partly outside India, supplied by tour operator to a foreign tourist, to the extent of the value of the tour operator service which is performed outside India, exemption will be granted. However, value of tour operator service performed outside India shall be proportionate to the total consideration of the tour, which is equal to the proportion of the number of days for which the tour is performed outside India has to the total number of tour days comprising the tour, or 50% of the total consideration charge for the entire tour, whichever is less. So, sir, 1 lakh is the total amount charged. Sir, if you do proportionate, it is 60,000 rupees ka exemption should be given, but they are telling maximum exemption should be only 50,000 rupees, which is 50% of the amount charged, and hence taxable amount will be how much? 50,000. Can I go ahead and tell you, if I go ahead and do it reverse, 3 days in India and 2 days in Nepal, then, sir, 1 lakh rupees has been charged. You will be granted exemption up to what? 1 lakh into 2 divided by 5, only 40,000, and GST will be charged on 60,000 rupees. Is my point understood by all? Remember one thing, over here they have gone ahead and told, supposingly it is 2 days, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Can you tell me, everyone, then in that scenario what will happen? Less than 12 hours. Less than 12 hours will be considered as what, everyone? Half day. 12 hours or above? 1 full day. So remember for your exam also, less than 12 hours is half day, 12 hours or above is 1 full day. Okay, sir, point is clear. Services received from a service provider in the non-taxable territory by the central government, state government, local authority, union territory government, or the governmental authority, or individual for non-business use, or an entity registered under 12AA, or a person in the non-taxable territory, then remember one thing, GST will not be there. But, sir, exemption is not applicable in case of OIDR services which are provided in relation to non-business purpose, or if it is provided to entity registered under 12A. Remember, in that scenario, OIDR will take registration in India, charge the GST under forward charge mechanism. And transportation services by a vessel from a place outside India up to the customs station in India, this will also not come under exemption. The next, Baba, in that scenario though, transportation of goods from a place outside India up to the customs station in India, if it is a foreign shipping company, then in that scenario you have to pay GST under RCM. Next, services supplied by an establishment of a person in India to any establishment of that person outside India, which is deemed as establishment of distinct person, and place of supply is outside India. Remember, sir, services provided by an establishment of a person in India to an establishment of that person. My branch office is outside India. Remember, supply is in India, recipient is outside India, place of supply is outside India. Even if you receive foreign convertible currency, because it's your branch, it is not export. Export is not there, then ITC ka refund you will not get. But government told, I will consider it as exempt. Even if government considers as exempt, ITC ka refund you will never get. IGST is not required to be paid, it will be considered as exempt. Clear? Next. Importation of service by United Nations or a specified international organization for official use is also exempt. Importation of service by a foreign diplomat mission or consular post in India, or diplomatic agent or career consular officer posted in India is also exempted from GST. Services provided by intermediary where location of supplier and location of recipient of goods is outside taxable territory. Baba, I am an intermediary over here. Supply is also outside India, recipient is also outside India. In that scenario, this service will be exempted. Then, services provided by a tour operator to a foreign tourist, people partly in India, partly outside India, apportionment. Sir, totally outside India, then it is also exempt. Services imported by a unit of SEZ for authorized operation, whenever SEZ is importing services, that is also exempted. And importation of services in relation to temporary transfer or permitting use or enjoyment of IPR. Baba, remember, whenever you are going ahead and importing services, basically might be you have gone ahead and contacted one US guy and told him to provide you IPR etc. services. He went ahead and gave you IPR. for temporary usage, he will not go ahead and charge. You will don't have to pay any GST under RCM, importation of service. Otherwise, you have to pay GST. But this has been exempted whenever it's an importation of service in relation to what? Temporary transfer or permitting use or enjoyment of a IPR. Done, everyone? Sir, what are the important points we should go ahead and remember out of this chapter? Listen. In this chapter, the store operator wala point, please take care of it. Tour operator wala point, please take care of it. Pure labor services wala point, please take care of it. Don't leave it. Here, residential property wala point is very, very important because it's an amendment. You please take care. Bank charges wala point is important because it's an amendment. Please take care of it. Here, all this business exhibition wala point is good. Foreign deployment mission wala point is this good. Then, sir, this one, non-profit entity wala point which is there. This is also good over here. And the last chart, anyways, I've gone ahead and told you. I'll do one thing, everyone. Now, Baba, I'll close all my discussion and revision on the chapter of exemption. Done.